Hello and welcome to the next edition of The Portal, a doorway that takes you into the latest happenings around the world of technology, leadership, and business. Well, we are fortunate today because we have with us Dr. Manavi Pathak, who is currently the head of learning and OD at Samsung Research. She has expertise in driving the people strategy by focusing on leadership and talent development and succession. Thank you, Manavi, for being here. Really appreciate. She has worked in organizations like PwC, Tata Motors, Cipla. A very strong background. Along with that, she also maintains a strong academic interest and is a visiting faculty to various B schools. Well, the way she defines herself is being very passionate about ensuring people have the skills, the tools, and the right mindset so that they can work effectively and collaborate and stay engaged. Very aligned to her role that she is into. Well, apart from that, she's also an ICF certified coach and a regular contributor to various HR magazines and blogs. She's also a fellow in management from XLRI and enjoys bringing together insights from academia with the wisdom of practitioners, the best blend. So guys, you're in, people watching, you're in for a treat. The theme for today is the changing L&D landscape, challenges, opportunities, what is it that we need to do, dig into her expertise, and we will have some of those ideas and points, as discussed with Dr. Manavi. So Dr. Manavi, one of the first things that we'd like you to throw some light on are over the years, learning and development has gone through tremendous change. So what do you see has happened? What are those critical changes that has really happened, which is very glaring and evident over the last 2-3 years? Because learning as a function has been there for decades across corporations, right? So.
Yeah, thank you so much, and really glad to be here. I have more than 2 decades of experience in the space of HR and learning and leadership development, and I see that there have been significant shifts over the last more than a decade, and more recently with the pandemic, hybrid work, coming up of technologies, new generative AI now, there is a lot that has happened. And this is, I would say, a very exciting time to be in the space of learning and development. Okay, so first thing I would like to see the shifts that have happened. One of the things that has shifted is the way learning gets delivered. Okay, so primarily, I remember when we started our careers, that time it was only classroom training. Okay, and there was too much of dependence on the videos and content, material, activities, a lot of things that also continues now. But with changing times, we moved from classroom training to other forms of learning, and now with pandemic for the last at least 5-6 years, I see there is a strong dependence on blended learning.
Right.
Okay, and with hybrid work, I see this becoming more and more popular. Blended learning typically means that it's a blend of classroom learning plus you have some bit of self-learning or online learning which the learner does. And there has been an upsurge of a lot of online content, online learning, which has happened over the last couple of years. And because there is so much available, we are spoiled for choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one thing significant that has also happened is that online learning is started being taken very seriously now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Earlier, the feeling was that online is inferior to classroom. But now with all these online companies, they have actually done their accreditation, credentials and all that, they have upped the game, and online is being taken up very, very seriously now. So blended learning. So one of the ways in which the learning gets delivered, there has been a shift. Second is, I see the learner is also changing. The learner is, earlier it used to be learning function was very centralized. Okay, so the L&D function or the HR function would decide what people learn.
Yeah, it was more of a push approach.
Push approach. But now I feel that not only because the way we function these days because of hybrid work and different other forms of working, and with the millennials and the Gen Z, we see that we actually have learners who want to be very proactive partners in learning.
Yeah.
They actually want to play an active role. They want to decide what we want to learn, when we want to learn, and how we want to learn.
Yeah.
So all that has become very, very important.
Right.
So the learner has become the center.
Yeah.
And in fact, we also have to think about learner. How will the learner? So that is why learner experience has become very, very important.
Right.
Okay. Earlier, it used to be too much. We were too much bogged down by content development, churning out modules, programs. But now I see it is more of learner focus. How do you enhance the learner experience? So that is another shift that I feel. And the last, I would say that how, the transfer of learning these days, earlier it used to be the program is over and the learner is gone, the classroom, we collect feedback, we are happy, our learning is over. But learning in the flow of work has become very, very important. And the organizations and even the learner wants to continue learning. The organization also wants, they also are interested in knowing that what has happened after the classroom. Does the behavior change happen? Does the stickiness of learning, does it happen?
The impact.
Impact of learning.
Yeah. So extending to that, Manavi, I guess even the metrics that you have, right? Typically it was attendance, feedback, and maybe some scores. Now, I guess there has to be some new ways of measuring, right? There's a lot of probably creativity around or thoughts that people have to put in. I guess with technology, yes, more and more options people will have, like you said. But in 2024, what are some of the new trends that you see, Manavi, in L&D space?
There are, if you ask me, a lot of things are changing. Few things which I feel that the AI era is here, and organizational leaders have a very clear mandate that they need to upskill people, and L&D has a very critical role to play here. Okay, we have to make the talent ready for the future, and we also have to make sure that this is done in a way which is not only fast but it also sticks. Okay, so that is becoming very, very
more aligned to the business outcome.
More aligned to the business outcome. So that becomes, so few things which have become very, very important, few trends which I see. First is that generative AI is going to be there, and generative AI is going to has already impacted, but L&D is one place where the impact is going to be seen, and already started unfolding, and it is going to impact the way learner consumes learning, the way L&D prepares the learner for learning, and the way the entire learning ecosystem is managed. So some of the L&D trends to watch out for would be, I'll start off with adapting the learning needs to Gen Z. Like for my organization, at least I can talk about that 75 to 80% of the total population is millennials and Gen Z. So our traditional forms of learning, and especially now that we still are in the hybrid mode, is something that we need to relook, because we can't expect people to be in office and the learning happens only when a person is in the classroom. So that is something that we have changed, and I'm sure a lot of other organizations are also doing this. So making your learning suited for the millennials and the Gen Z. Second is that aligning the learning objectives to the business objectives. Okay, so what problem are you, whose problem are you solving? You are solving actually problems of the organization. So instead of learning being an activity or a activity center learning L&D, where you are just churning out programs and doing training programs without connecting into the business goals. That
And
is
not
something,
just like a checklist.
just not just like a checklist. That is, we have some programs which fall into that category where we have compliance trainings and all. But here, most of the time, you have to answer what problem are we solving. So that becomes very, very important. Third is, I see learning in the flow of work, and there is a lot of emphasis on micro learning. Okay, so micro learning, learning in spurts is going to become very, very, it's already become very important. In fact, whenever we have vendors who reach out to us, this is one of the things that they showcase the most, that we have mobile enabled learning technology, and you can use our learning through mobile, through your through your iPad, iPhones, or through various devices. So that becomes very, very important. Another thing that I see is that there is a lot of emphasis on soft skills, because what has happened is that the pandemic has brought in few key behaviors which manager has to display, and especially now with the hybrid work continuing, skills like empathy, emotional intelligence, those things have become very, very important. Collaboration, building trust, all that has become very important, and we see a lot of demand. At least in my organization, I see a lot of demand for these particular programs. And we are moving from a one size fit all learning to a personalized learning space. So there is a lot of emphasis, and that is why we have these learning LXPs, where you have the content which gets curated as per the employee's needs, his aspirations, his future goals. All that becomes extremely, extremely important. So these are some of the shifts that I can think of.
So very adaptive kind of learning. So even as a behavior, we all need to be nudged. So any practices that you have seen from tech perspective where nudging can be more effective? Any experiences?
I always feel that in fact I always tell this to my team, that in L&D we all have to be chief nudging officers.
Nudging officer. Well said.
So that is something that I feel, that nudging is something that is there, and it is, see, even if we say that we try to give amazing content and we want to create that pull towards learning, but there will be this nudging behavior is going to continue, because one of the challenges of this online learning is the the lonely learner syndrome. The lonely learner syndrome is there, where if left on their own, very few learners are going to finish the entire course.
The fire will die.
Fire will die, and we actually need to keep these nudges are important. And I'm actually amazed at the way organizations, different companies, the vendors who reach out to you, they to us, they actually tell us that what are the different innovative ways they use to nudge the learners. So sometimes, one of the vendors, I remember, they had said it's a very personalized nudge. So I mean, when you read the nudge, you feel that, okay, this is written for me only, and somebody is telling me to complete my unfinished work or unfinished task. So that becomes very, very interesting. So I think those things are being done beautifully, and we actually have covered, we have actually done a lot of stuff in that space. And one of the other things which I see is that the data or analytics that earlier we would focus on, and what we focus on now, that has also changed. Okay, we are not chasing attendance or completion anymore. We are looking at things like behavioral change, or engagement, or is there some kind of a transfer of learning has happened or not. So
and with
those
tech,
things,
it's easier to measure that.
it's much easier to measure. So all those things become very, very important.
Excellent, excellent. So you did mention about generative AI. Any more thoughts on how specifically it is impacting L&D?
Yeah, so generative AI is one thing which has been, I would say, it's really magical. Whatever I've seen and whatever I've experienced, I see that this is really going to completely change the landscape of L&D. And not only in terms of the quality and the efficiency, but also the skills that a future L&D professional will require. So I'll start off with, the first thing is that something which comes to my mind is that content creation. So content creation, which used to take a long time, we used to spend so much of time on content creation, getting modules ready, videos, activities, all that is going to be done so much more effectively. Okay, so in fact, I was reading one of the interviews of one of the L&D experts, and he was saying that content creation will be done by generative AI, and we should spend time on solving business problems. And I think that is something which is very, very good if we are able to do that, because so much of time we were spending on doing all this. So what I see is that the tactical work is going to get replaced, and we will be doing more of a consultative work. So that is something that I see that happening very, very clearly. Second is that personalized learning. So as I already said, that one size fits all is something which is going to get replaced. We are getting into the space of personalized learning. So all that is also going to get done beautifully by generative AI. Next is that virtual trainers and chatbots, because the learner wants to learn at his or her own pace, time. Virtual trainers and chatbots will become very handy, because they will actually help you navigate, understand. And in fact, one of the vendors had reached out to us and was showing a virtual trainer and chatbot, and how the learning is going to be completely effortless through that. So that was very, very interesting. Then I see that the language translation, like we work in a company. My organization is is headquartered in Korea. There's a lot of content which is in a different language, and all this can be translated to English or any other language through generative AI. So these are some of the things that comes to my mind, and I think all this is going to help us focus on the core work instead of spending time on all this tactical work.
Yeah. In fact, like you said, the language translation, including the tone, the expression, it just does it so well. That's so amazing. Now, as L&D professionals, a lot of the viewers watching here are L&D professionals. So, there's always a saying, you have to practice what you preach. So there are a lot of skills which are changing. What does it mean for L&D professionals in terms of how ready are they to embrace these changes? What are the skills me as an L&D professional need to adopt? Is it just the basics, or is something more to it?
So as I already mentioned that there is a kind of a sentiment which people might have that is my job in danger now that we have generative AI. So I don't think, as I already mentioned, that there is going to be a shift from doing the routine tactical kind of a work which can be handled, and focusing on the core issues. So focusing on very strategic consultative work, that is going to be the focus. And And I also feel that even the stuff which was routine, that is going to get much better, and in terms of the content and in terms of the quality, because it's going to be done not only in a much faster way, it is going to be done in a much more better way.
Yeah, yeah.
So that I feel can be done. So as a L&D professional, I don't think there is anything to worry. There are a wide variety of tools, and you can use that to enhance your skill set. So some of the things that I personally feel that the learner experience is going to become very important. So your role, so if you are like an instructional designer, for example, you should focus on just not the content, you should be focusing on the learner experience.
Yes.
So that becomes very important.
Yeah.
That is going to be linked to how much does the learner retain, how much does the learner enjoy,
Right.
and how much does the learner carry forward that learning.
Right.
So that all becomes very important, and
Right.
the learner experience becomes very critical.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, for somebody who's developing content, it's no longer just about the output, but the actual outcome. I heard, I was reading an article where they said what AI has done is it's lowered the floor, raised the ceiling, right? More and more people can come into, and use these tools, but people who can use it, there is a lot more that they can create. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So personally, if I can ask you a question, how have you, managed this change? Being in an R&D organization, there is always demand for new skills, this happening organization. As an L&D professional, how have you managed to stay up on the curve and stay up with the niche technologies and the changes?
Yeah, so actually, being in L&D, you always are bombarded with so much of information, and always you feel that there is so much to learn, and how little you know.
Yeah.
And I think this is a very good time to be in L&D.
You get shown the mirror every now
Yeah,
and then.
you get shown the mirror. And being in a setup where AI ML is upskilling is something which is one of our main objectives, business objectives of the organization. Upskilling is something that is being taken up very seriously in the company. So I personally, I feel that to keep myself updated, I read, I do online courses, I attend conferences, I connect with peers. I'm quite active, on LinkedIn and other, social media platforms, where I get to exchange my views. I learn a lot. So this keeps me always, informed and always, eager to know, eager to learn more. Yeah. So I personally feel that this is the way forward.
What would you, what would your take be when today we are in a world where business is changing, demands are, there is always continuous demand, right? Your work starts, but you don't know when it ends. So the usual, what gets echoed is, where is the time? Right, for a busy professional, where is the time? What would be your message to those people? Everybody is bogged down with so much of work. So where do I really find time to learn? Any thoughts, any of your personal advice to people?
I feel that this is just of of course time is limited. We all have 24 hours, and we all are juggling with our day-to-day work and family and traffic and so many things. So all that is there, but I feel that it is just prioritizing and being more intentional about learning.
Right.
So whenever you get time, spend that time. Even if people, different people have different ways. Some people say that I read 10 pages every day. That is also a very good way, that if you are that disciplined that you can read 10 pages every day or 5 pages every day, or do some a course, online course every month. So whatever is there, I think that consistency is more important. Even if you feel that you don't have time, be consistent. Whatever, whether you want to give 10 minutes a day or an hour a week or whatever, be consistent in your practice, and then you will be able to take out time.
Right. And I guess with the changing landscape, you did mention about that. the need for collaboration with subject matter experts, with business folks. We spoke about the behavioral skills, right? It's more relevant for L&D professionals now. And the very fact that you need to have a lot of horizontal knowledge, Brett, because you may not be a subject matter expert yourself, but you need to know what business problem it is solving. So it's very exciting to keep yourself updated and be on top of and use the tools like you said, the micro learning aspect of it. But everywhere today it's about, will AI take up jobs, right? Now there's so much you mentioned about tools, about technologies which will actually transform the learning and development space. So of course, at the end of the day, we are dealing with humans, right? The outcome, the output or the outcome is for a human being. So do you think there is danger of the large L&D fraternity who's really adding a lot of value getting kind of scared about their jobs being replaced by AI? What's your take on it?
No, as I mentioned that I don't think anybody has to worry, because see, all these are there to help us improve our craft, improve the way we deliver, improve the way we work. And even if, see, I feel that even if the content is there, the way it gets delivered, the critical thinking, the emotional intelligence, those aspects of the human aspects become very, very important. And how you deliver, how how you do things. Like for example, if it is storytelling, you might get a story from through a chat GPT, but how you deliver it to the learner, how you make that person feel and get impacted by that story, that is a very human experience.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely, how you can actually take it to the next level. So on a slightly different note, Manavi, see, we have I'm asking this more because you come from a research and development organization. R&D function is very critical there. So traditionally it's been the credentials, right? PhDs, masters, from reputed institutions, which is, yes, I mean, we all know that that deserve due respect. But how is that changing for R&D? Because right now it's more of skills, correct? So where do you see that balance? So does it mean that skills are going to overtake this, or is there some other message?
So I personally feel that the credentials or the education or the degrees are still more of a threshold of getting in, because we hire BTech, MTechs, so that is still the threshold. But when it happens learning on the job, we have to look at what is in demand, what does the business need, what is the current trend, and upskilling is something that is very, very important, that needs to be done. What is important now may not be important tomorrow. So that way it's very dynamic, we have to be very agile. And so one of the things that that we actually look for when we hire talent is that growth mindset becomes very, very important. That a person that learn, earn, retire model is over. Okay, that was there. So learn, earn, retire model is over. We need people who are looking at growing themselves, upskilling themselves as the need arises. So that becomes extremely important. So I feel that education and all these BTech, MTech still are important. They are actually probably the entry criteria for to getting into a job or an organization. But it is more of how you upskill and reskill yourself.
Right? With all the gig workers today, I guess they bring in a lot of skills. So maybe some amount of the threshold people will be willing to look at, right? If you have brought in those skills, because that's very relevant. Now, in summary, Manavi, L&D has always been a business enabler, I guess. From they say that Lakshmi and Saraswati, right? If you want to get Lakshmi, you need to pray to Saraswati first, right? So any thoughts as we close this discussion on the future of L&D, moving from just being an enabler to actually a business accelerator, or in summary, any thoughts, closing thoughts?
No, I always feel that L&D is a function which is not just a support function within HR, and I feel that this is a function which can actually add value, and a lot of changes have happened in the last couple of years, and this is a very interesting time of unique challenges and opportunities in the L&D space. So we can work very closely with the business and actually add a lot of value. In fact, business is looking at L&D to rise up and support them in achieving their goals.
Right. So, I've heard many organizations that, that is where you also gain a seat at the table, right? There is, the CEOs and the senior executives, they look for people, they look for insights, they look for inputs, because that is going to actually, lead the way of the next level for the organization. Thank you for all those insights, your own experience. I'm sure all the viewers who are watching this podcast have a lot of great takeaway. Thank you, Manavi, once again. So with that, we come to an end of this episode, but please stay tuned for more episodes with a lot of enriching topics and a lot of good takeaways. Thank you.